Hi, this is David Nivola, and my research area was on effective design of online learning for adults. I focused on things that I would be able to provide to the instructors here at Western Michigan University because I am an instructional designer with online ed, and I focused on how we may improve our faculty development and what we talk to instructors about. So digital learning, you will have read this mostly. I just wanted to point out that there are connections to adult learning through motivation, experience, self-directedness, and social. And I will focus mostly on constructivism, but hopefully in the right experiences, it can be a transformational learning experience for students as well. Some of the things that I've learned and could implement. Context of adult learning, there's higher ed, social networking, communities of practice. Most digital learning is informal. For instance, Googling something, or maybe going through a course questionnaire, a course on a website. But you will have learned most of this by reading Merriam and Bierman. So there's a huge demand for e-learning. It's growing. If any of you wanted to get in a growth career, that instructional design would be one of those. And here are the reasons. Again, this is backed up through our textbook. There are different kinds of e-learning. There's face-to-face, which with enhancement online. In other words, instructors may have quizzes online, or post readings online, or even grades. Fully online is obviously what we're taking now, so everything's online, or blended and hybrid, which there are meetings, fewer meetings than a face-to-face class, and a lot of the work is done online. One term you may hear is the flipped classroom, and that is basically the idea that basic concepts and background knowledge will be built in an online environment to be able to accomplish some activity when the instructors and students meet. So demand is high and effectiveness low. This is my case for wanting to improve our staff development and provide some research-based pedagogical strategies for improving online teaching. I think that it can be done. So digital literacy is a key skill for anybody coming in. Obviously, it's all about getting information and filtering it, and then being able to summarize or paraphrase it. What's good information is important. What will you use? Then how to store it and be able to get it back, and certainly use it in a collaborative manner to help build the overall dialogue or discourse on a particular subject, and then to hopefully use that in real-world tasks. Again, this is backup or a background, some characteristics of what it takes to be successful, but it kind of follows that digital literacy thing I just showed you. Definition of constructivism, which we have discuss, argue. That's interaction, collaboratively solve problems together. Teachers will design activities to be able to make that happen. But here's the connection to adult learning. It's because of the background and what an adult learner brings to the course, and building upon that background knowledge and helping the rest of the class do so as well. Again, a little bit more backup for the constructivist strategies, a little bit more detailed out about what types of things might be going on in a constructivist course, constructivist-based course. You can read that at your leisure. And again, a little bit more background. I just kind of gave what are the important parts. Again, all kind of mentioned previously. So this is just a model of the constructivist strategies where the facilitator sets up the course so there's high quality learning, self-directed learning, and using strategies that some of which I've researched here. This is a TA that would help with basically the learning environment and being supportive and helping students out, and then the learners moderating their own learning through being interactive and participating, and then collaborating to build knowledge, and all of it being meaningful, authentic knowledge, not just esoteric. So critical thinking is defined here, and again it follows with all of the things that we've been talking about. Gathering, processing information, then publishing it out, and receiving some sort of evaluation off of it. So these are constraints of teaching critical thinking in a traditional classroom. So Mandernack purports, says that these are constraints, and then he provides benefits of in a constructivist-based online course, how to what the benefits are of creating critical thinking in an online course. So critical thinking could be online preparation quizzes where it's a quiz on the reading, or it's a quiz on some of the points that were supposed to be gained in basic understanding, or just basically prep for when a discussion is going to occur, and therefore may need to be moderated by the instructor or other students, but it's being prepared with background knowledge to engage. Online lectures are help students focus their attention, and it also breaking up into what I call digestible chunks some of the information. I have an example of a typical lesson. This is in a GWS, General Women's Studies course. You can see that it's pretty short, but it makes the points, and this is in addition to reading, and it does provide examples and places for inquiry for adult students, and also sort of self-checks, posed questions. The next item I'm going to talk about is asynchronous threaded discussions, and I'm just going to show you an example of different formatting. So the last post, basically on rotation, a student makes a first post, the rest of the group responds to it, and the first person doesn't respond at all, but then at the end does a summary on the end. Also, the crux of the matter, that's posting a sentence about the reading. It's a response. Again, another adult learning thing is having emotional response, and that's certainly more on the transformational learning side, but having emotional response to some of the content. Although this is text, it's some of the research that I saw were based more on visual responses or maybe stories. But this is asking for the first round. Everybody posts their favorite sentence, favorite phrase, favorite word, and then the group will have a discussion about what everybody posted. So that's just an example of different types of discussion. Collaboration and interaction, again, this is I'm going to breeze through the next couple of parts, but this is a chart that kind of gets at what I'm going to briefly go through in the next couple of slides. Just basically, you can see it, teacher presence, it's relationships, it's the interactions and certainly relationship building in an online course. So there's 3 interactions in every that if should be present in every online course. That's interaction with the text or content. Sorry, not text maybe, but the content. Interaction, student interaction with peers, and student interaction with the instructor. So student interaction with content, with peers, and with instructors. This is just research backing up all the collaboration and interaction. I kind of already showed you a discussion, but you can look at this. This is really good information, all research based. The cool thing is you'll notice that, for instance, this is interaction with classmates. What are some of the things that can be done in an online course? The previous one was interaction with the instructor, and then interaction with content. So those are the 3 interactions. So assessing online discussions, as you know, can have a rubric. Here is one type of rubric. I have another. This is a holistic rubric. An interesting point is down here that there's a 2-point penalty, a minus 2-point penalty, or a minus 1-point penalty for failing to do a couple of these things. You can see. And another online assessment of online discussion. Now, a big thing in online courses is collaboration. Both small group, certainly large group, we've already talked about in big discussions, but here's a definition of small groups. And here are some of the things that happen. These are supportive behaviors in collaborative small groups. So the assessment of these things can be done a number of ways. It can be a combination of individual, peer, and teacher evaluation of how the group worked, and then also how the product worked. Here's an interesting thing. Collaborative exam. This is kind of an up-and-coming thing. There's a couple different pieces of research out there. So I'm just going to bump over and show you an example of that. So this is just a chart explaining how it happens. So here's traditional exam, a participatory exam, and a collaborative exam. So a class breaks out in groups. They design questions for a group. Then it goes back to the whole class who reviews the questions. Then an individual student answers the questions. The original breakout group does the answers, and then the professor assigns the grades. And then, but the key thing is the student has a chance for reflection, and there's varied things, varied pieces of research that say the professor might allow for reworking of the answer, and then there's the final grade. So that's been found to be quite effective. And if the overall goal is learning something instead of trying to put a score on it, this seems a very interesting thing for me, and hopefully for you. All right, so the last thing is faculty technology adoption. Obviously, institutional support, that they have what they need. There is support for them. The professional development should be on demand and targeted on best practice teaching skills. And also, a big thing was that it was discipline specific. And then obviously the resources, and that there is peer support through a collegial community of practice. That was the most effective. And then perceived impact. I go into faculty learning communities a little bit more, and then my conclusions are that online learning is growing, that online instruction needs to improve. The body of research on effective online instruction continues to grow and provide direction on how to improve, and that faculty support for online instruction needs to be evolved.